A look at Mark Bulger having to answer a lot of questions, having to go through a lot on and off the field. And Troy, I'll ask you before Chris gets back up here from his little stint down on the field. You can say whatever you want, and Chris won't A, hear it, B, refute it. So this is a free shot here.
All right.
As you look at Randy Moss, we go back to Mark Bulger for a quick second. You wonder how he's handling all this, because he's been successful. He's 14-3 as a starter in the NFL, and yet he has thrown a lot of interceptions. And you've got Kurt Warner, a two-time MVP, standing in your shadow right behind you, breathing down your neck. It can't be a real comfortable spot for him right now.
No, I don't think it is, and I think it's kind of taken him by surprise a little bit. You got to remember that this is his first opportunity to really be scrutinized the way that he has. He was somewhat of the savior last year when he came in place of Kurt Warner, and this year all he's done is win. And yes, he has struggled in recent games, but he has found ways to win games for this ball club, and ultimately that's all that matters. I'm surprised that there's been so much discussion regarding who's going to quarterback this football team.
And as a guy who lives in St. Louis, like myself, it surprised me that people are having trouble with success the way it's happening. And granted, there have been mistakes made, but you wonder how high the confidence is with Kurt Warner right there, ready, willing, and able, I guess willing, after what happened in Chicago, to take over if necessary. This will be Ontario Smith from the end zone. And we're glad you're with us on Fox. The Rams have had a tough time covering kicks. The ball comes out, and they are going to say that he was down by contact, and instead of an early turnover, the Minnesota Vikings will get it. Jeremy Lloyd on the stop, and it will be interesting to see the replay. This is a play that has been blown dead no matter what we see here.
Well, it was close. It's hard to tell exactly whether or not the right knee was on the ground prior to the ball coming out.
Looked like it was out before the knee got down. But a quick call made, and so the Vikings have it at their own 21. And they fake a reverse. Culpepper setting up a screen. It's something they've done well lately, and Michael Bennett pushes his way out to the 26. Take a look at the lineups, and up front, this is a very big and a very good offensive line protecting a very big and a very good quarterback in Dante Culpepper, the top-rated passer in the NFC. And then there's Randy Moss, tied for the NFL lead with Santana Moss and Torrey Holt with the 10 touchdowns. Rams show blitz, and they hand off. Well played as Michael Bennett makes the carry, and it's Tommy Polley on the stop. A gain of 3, 3rd and short coming up, and that is predominantly the hair of Grant Whistle.
The big one, having Leonard Little back in the lineup, certainly going to help the St. Louis Rams defense.
Third and down and 3. Culpepper's first throw for Ontario Smith is incomplete. He had him, led him a little too far, and it's a quick 3 and out for the Minnesota Vikings on offense.
Well, the Rams were really fortunate there. Tino Isamoa is going to be the guy trying to cover, and they're going to run a wheel route to the outside. They run the flat and up, and Tino Isamoa just cannot stay with him. He has to run underneath the slant route, and as a result, he's not able to keep pace with him.
And Randy Moss got a nice natural pick there to really set that play up. That was a blown opportunity by the Vikings.
Eddie Johnson has it blocked. And the ball is picked up by the Rams, now fumbled. Scramble for the ball. It's a free ball, and it belongs to St. Louis inside the 20. The first guy there was Jeremy Lloyd. He got his hands up, and now the right fist is up for Bobby April, the embattled special teams coach for St. Louis.
Somebody please tell me what Eddie Johnson's thinking about. He does like a stutter step in the middle of this punt. Watch this. He's going to take the ball. Ordinarily, just take a kick, like he's almost going to fake it or something. That is just a blown play by Eddie Johnson. It's unbelievable. I've never seen him. Oh, he bobbled the ball. That's what happened to him, Troy.
And then, of course, Jamie Duncan, the guy who's able to get in and make the block. That's 2 special teams gaffes by Minnesota. The one they get away with, and then they get blocked punt.
So a first down and a great starting field position for St. Louis. And they hand to Marshall Faulk. Faulk with a big run, looking for the end zone. One play, one touchdown.
Marshall Faulk coming off the 2 100-yard rushing games. You're going to see Brandon Manu-Maliuna make the block right there that springs Marshall Faulk up inside, and just great blocking on the outside as well by Torrey Holt. Anytime you get a run like that, there's other people besides the interior linemen that are making it happen, and Torrey Holt able to spring them into the end zone.
The longest touchdown run by a St. Louis Ram all season, and just like that, we'll get flags and whistles prior to the snap on the extra point. Marshall Faulk, they say he's getting better and better, more fit week after week, healthier week after week, and a pretty good start for St. Louis.
Well, if you want to talk about the biggest difference between this Rams team and their Super Bowl team, it's their ability to run the football. Obviously, Marshall out for an extended period of time certainly hurt that. I talked to Marshall on the field before the game, and give it to you after this.
Terry McCauley is our referee.
Neutral zone infraction. Prior to the snap, defense, 5-yard penalty on the kickoff. We'll attempt to try now.
And I asked Marshall about, I said, now, are you going to be able to run the football on these guys today? And his line was, if they let me.
So Marshall Faulk is into the end zone. We have another extra point try. They will assess the penalty on the kickoff. Wilkins trying to make it 7-0 in a blink. Does. So an early turnover. And as Troy mentioned, a near turnover in the opening kick. And then the block punt. Duncan got his hands on it. Lloyd came away with it, and Faulk took it into the end zone. 7-0 St. Louis. It has been special teams mistakes that have hurt the Rams at times this season and in past seasons. Some special teams mistakes hurting Minnesota in the opening possession, and then Marshall Faulk getting his 125th career touchdown, which ties Walter Payton for 6th on the all-time list. Some of the other scores starting to filter in. You see New England on top of Indianapolis. And Wilkins kicks it away. Again, it is Ontario Smith. And Ontario Smith can't get back to the 20. The Rams will tell you that as they have had injuries hit their defense, it has filtered down to their special teams, and that's why they have been atrocious covering kickoffs and punts this season.
Not so far this game.
And guys are coming back, so they get guys like Jamie Duncan and others back on the special teams units. And that should pay off for Bobby April, who's been under fire here for the past couple of years. Hand the ball off. That's Bennett. And Bennett picked up 2. Is it fair, guys? I mean, Troy, I know I brought it up to you in the open, and then the Rams want to come out and establish the run against a Minnesota defense that has been soft against the run. And really, the Vikings came in saying the same thing.
Well, yeah, in fact, Mike Tice told his offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, that if they didn't run the ball 35 times in this game today, he was going to be fired at the conclusion of this game. That gives you an idea as to how they want to approach this ball game.
Moss. Are they going to say it's a catch? They are. Now, one official overrules the other, says incomplete. It certainly looked incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and long.
I think Mike Tice was disappointed with himself last week for dialing up too many bombs. Basically, the strategy going into the game against Detroit was once they crossed the 50-yard line, they were going to take their shot down the field. It didn't work out. Randy Moss wasn't able to make the plays, and Dante Culpepper ended up looking bad out of it.
So far, 2 drops for the Vikings. And it's 3rd down and 9. Wide snap. Culpepper steps up and fires. Hits his receiver and has a first down. That's 81 Nate Burleson. And he's got a fresh set of downs for Minnesota. Leonard Little had pressure, and boy, aren't the Rams happy to have Leonard Little back. One of the best, I'll still say young, defensive linemen in the game.
He is good. And watch what Nate Burleson does. As soon as he catches this ball, turns upfield immediately. You see a lot of wide receivers will catch that ball, turn around, and see where the guys are. His immediate reaction got him to the first down.
This is Bennett. Not much, trying the left side. In fact, we'll give him one. Let's go out to JB, our first.
Back to Joe Buck.
You can see how much time's left in the play clock as the Vikings are getting up to the line quickly. Culpepper changed it to a run, and Bennett just did get back to the line of scrimmage. Tino Isamoa, a young rookie linebacker that is very active, rather fast, although he didn't show it on that pass to Ontario Smith, and a guy that has played well all season.
Well, he really has. In fact, talking to Lovie Smith, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, he says Tino Isamoa has done about as much as we can expect from him as a rookie. Obviously, he's going to grow and he's going to get better, but he has played well considering this is, in fact, his first year.
Rams showing blitz, and they come. Culpepper is flushed, and Little is chasing him. Leonard Little with the play, and the pass incomplete. Time for Minnesota to punt.
One of the keys today is anytime the Rams want to bring pressure, they're going to put Aeneas Williams, their safety, and of course, former outstanding cornerback, one-on-one against Randy Moss. They had an opportunity on the slant, but the pressure from Leonard Little is what forced Dante Culpepper out of the pocket, and he just couldn't find Moss.
I know Mike Martz, he felt that with Leonard Little in the lineup that he would create at least 6 big plays in the ball game. That's one right now.
The punt from Eddie Johnson with Fury waiting deep. Fury got it across the 35 out to the 37. Nelson on the stop, a return of 8 yards. 7-0 St. Louis, and they've got the football when we come back. Let's go Big Grease. That's Bill Kolar.
Hey, who's Big Grease?
Big Grease is Ryan Pickett.
Okay.
I'm not into the nickname so much, but it's just like you were saying yesterday, it's hard to think of Ryan Pickett.
That one's too much fun to say anyway.
Troy does it better anyway. Give him a little bit.
I will after he makes a play.
All right.
Quick, easy, safe throw, and it's Torrey Holt. The ball pops out, but they're going to say Holt was down. And the ball will remain with St. Louis. Russell on the stop. Holt has had an unbelievable season, and the Rams will tell you so has Orlando Pace. He has shifted some of his weight. He is in better shape than he's been in the past couple of years, according to Mike Martz. And then there's Torrey Holt. And if he averages 83 yards or more a game the rest of the way, he'll be only the second receiver ever to record 6,000 yards in a 4-year period. So it's not just this year. And Falk is hit and he loses yardage. Good play by Henri Crockett, who's getting the start today at weak side linebacker in place of the inactive Chris Claiborne. And now up front, this has been a defensive front that has been susceptible to the run.
Well, they have been, and they've been trying to get some of their younger linebackers out onto the field because they give them then more speed. Henri Crockett moving to the weak side, as you mentioned, from the strong side linebacker, gives them more speed, along with Nick Rogers now filling in at the strong side linebacker position.
There's Chris Claiborne, who is not active in this game. A bad knee, a bad Achilles and shoulder, and now a timeout called for by St. Louis. By the way, those young linebackers are on the field for Minnesota. Henderson, Natil, and Rogers. Third down when we return. Some fans from Minnesota down here in St. Louis. Nice looking couple here at the Edwards Jones Dome.
Couple of what?
Couple of fans watching the Vikings and the Rams. It's 3rd down and 4. Protection for Bulger, and he fires. He hits Fury, and Fury is in the open field. Mike Fury to the sideline and out of bounds inside the 35, forced out by Russell. And guys, if there's a big difference With this team and last year's team for the Rams, it's mixing in guys like Fury and Dane Looker, in my mind, as extra weapons for Bulger.
Yeah, and Mike Marks likes Fury. He thinks he's going to be a heck of a player for him. Look at the protection that he's afforded to throw the football. Line does a nice job picking up the linebackers. They still only rush 5, and Fury runs a slant route. Boy, there's just tremendous area in that zone. The Vikings are going to have to come up and challenge these guys a little bit more than what they did there.
And it really makes you hesitant to blitz when you get picked up like that early.
Now play action to Falk. Pass complete to Holt. Torrey Holt takes the hit and is forced out right at the marker. Williams on the stop, and it depends on the spot as to whether or not it's a first down.
And Kevin Williams just going to get sucked in. He has contained. He has to be up the field here to make sure they don't hit that bootleg. He really has no other responsibility on the play. And the Rams like that bootleg action. I can't believe he gets sucked in that early.
Obviously, Mark Bulger, not a guy who's real mobile. They like to be able to move the pocket some so the defense can't tee off on one spot back there behind the center, and that's a way of doing it with a guy who's not real mobile. Run him out on the bootlegs.
And these have been some very early and safe throws for Mark Bulger here as Marshall Falk picks up the first down, looking for his second touchdown. They are going to say touchdown, but a penalty flag is down on the field, and this one's coming back. There's a hold against St. Louis, which will take points off the board.
Well, that time Kevin Williams ran so far up the field, the Rams didn't even have to block him. He created a wide open lane, so maybe the bootleg forced him to react differently.
Holding offense, number 44, 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Joey Goodspeed, a fullback that the Rams think they kind of lucked into.
Yeah, they just picked him up at the end of October, and he's given them finally a true fullback. He's the lead blocker. And you see him there. He grabs him. Looks like he's grabbing Corey Chavis. Boy, that was a close call. It didn't look like he grabbed him by much if he did, but they got him hooked right there on his left side. And that's what drew the flag. But, yeah, Joey Goodspeed has given the Rams a true fullback and a true lead blocker for Marshall Falk.
On second and short, the pass is tipped and then dropped.
Boy,
excellent opportunity for the Minnesota Vikings to come up with their 23rd interception. They lead the league in that stat.
And the rookie E.J. Henderson just got excited. This thing's going to fall right in his lap, and the Vikings desperately need a play to go their way. Everything in his first quarter has gone against him. He just got excited. He jumped in the air. It was just going to be an easy play, and he sort of, as rookies often do, got a little pumped up.
And when they've won games, they've been able to create turnovers. In their 4-game losing streak, they only had 2 interceptions during that span. They missed out on an opportunity there with E.J. Henderson.
It's 3rd down and 1. And they hand off to Falk running left. He's got a first down. And marked down at the 20.
That is all Marshall Falk. They had the play designed to go to the right. Marshall saw it was locked up over on this side and just took it back the other way, and he converts a big 3rd down. It's amazing not only running the football, but what he does, Troy, in protection. This guy has become the great eraser back there. When mistakes are made on the offensive line or in blitz pickup, more often than not, Marshall and his brain back there has the ability to cover for him.
Well, and the other thing is he's finally starting to get back to 100%. Been injured most of the year.
Bulger all day fires in the pass, caught. That's Torrey Holt, another catch, and he's got a first down. They'll mark him out at the 7.
You know, Torrey Holt is just having an absolutely outstanding season right now, and watch why that is. I mean, he gets going vertically up the field. He doesn't get the ball, but watch how he works back down the sideline, which creates separation and gives Mark Bulger a place to go with the football. Just great job by Torrey Holt, as well as Mark Bulger, trusting that he's going to come back down the line for the ball.
And, you know, quarterbacks don't want to hold that ball. They want to get it to you as a wide receiver. I used to tell Boomer, listen, if everything breaks down, I'll be sprinting towards you. You find me.
John St. Clair is an extra tackle and eligible receiver, and this is Falk. Marshall Falk is out of bounds at the 2. Chavis forced him out.
Marshall looks a little niftier out here today, doesn't he?
I was going to say, and I think you might have been in the camp, and a lot of people were, that a couple of weeks ago they said, well, this guy, he's got a lot of mileage on him. He's had the knee problems. he may be finished, or he may not be the usual Marshall Faulk. And week after week, he's been getting better and better.
Well, and watching the game last week, Joe, even though he was able to rush for over 100 yards, it really looked like he was running in mud. I mean, he didn't have the burst. He still didn't have the quickness. But I guess this week he's still making progress. And slowly we're seeing him be the runner that we're accustomed to seeing him.
From the 2. Are they going to look for St. Clair? I think they were, but Bulger is sacked back at the 10, and a big play is made by Lance Johnstone.
Well, they had John St. Clair running across the back of the end zone. He's a former tackle from last season. He's just going to cross the formation, and nobody's going to pick him up. Corey Chavis kind of let him go, and why not? You know, you're looking at a 320-pound guy. You don't think, like, here's a guy that's going to beat me in the passing game, but he was there, and Bulger just didn't have the time to wait on him.
And Mark's got to realize that once he's outside the tackle box, which he was there, he can obviously unload it and not take the sack.
So all the way back at the 10, that was a big play by this Minnesota defense. It's 3rd and goal. Time, had a receiver, and right into the ground. Bulger had Holt, couldn't get it to him. The field goal unit will come onto the field for St. Louis.
And Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, and this is one of the things that they like to do. They like to go into motion and get stacked. As you're going to see, they come up and they go vertical, so the defenders don't know exactly which way each of them is going. Torrey Holt stays to the inside and finds the hole in that zone, and Bulger's just not able to deliver it.
And Mike Tice told us last night he felt like that if you could get in Bulger's face, it makes him freeze a little bit. He froze on that one and underthrew it.
Wilkins, who has been as valuable as any Ram this season, knocks it through. And it's a 10-0 St. Louis lead, but a big stop for this Minnesota defense. A key sack by Johnstone. 10-0 Rams. There's Rich Basile in the distance, our technical director, punching up the shots called for by Artie Kempner with our producer Richie Zients.
Artie Kempner, you said?
That's Artie Kempner down there, our director.
He became kind of famous at Thanksgiving, didn't he?
Infamous.
Yes.
This is Keenan Howry taking it from just inside the 10. Had a lane up the middle, and Howry is out to the 29. So decent field position for the Vikings, and the #1 offense in the NFL has to get it going. It's 10-0 St. Louis. There's the game right there. That's all you need to know. 10-0 at the top of your screen. 5:35 left in the first quarter. And at the bottom, 80 yards for St. Louis compared to the 20 in 9 plays for Minnesota. Block punt, key part of this first half.
And you know, Mike Tice wants to run the football, but right now the Vikings have run it 4 times for 4 yards. So if they run it 35, they're on pace for a grand total of 35 in this game.
Atta baby.
Doing the math.
Right into a wall, Michael Bennett. And that's happened every time he's carried the ball. Now, we were in Detroit on Thanksgiving, and the Rams, if they were watching, saw their former buddy, I'm sure still buddy, Dre Bly, come up with a huge game. Forced fumble, couple of picks. What did he get for his efforts? This ridiculous-looking trophy from all of us at Fox Sports. The Galloping Gobbler, but it seemed to become the center of attention in that winning locker room. That just makes you feel good, doesn't it, Troy?
Well, Dre was much more appreciative of it than Emmitt Smith was the year previously.
That was an embarrassment. 2nd down and 8. Kleinsasser, the tight end, is flipped shy of a first down. Fisher on the stop, and let's go out to JB for another game.
Back to Joe, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
He's talking about the pass, not the catch, man. Did you realize I was a quarterback? Right?
3rd down and 1, and they pitch it wide open as the field in front of Bennett. And it's Archuleta who forces him out of bounds. What a nifty play by the Vikings for a first down.
Yeah, and this is why you run the play when you've got a defensive end like Grant Wistrom, who's going to come hard down the line, not worried about contain. You fake the handoff and then pitch it outside, and you're able to get on the corner. Good play call there by Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, getting Michael Bennett out in space.
How many more runs for job security for Linehan? 35 minus
30 more.
First down at the St. Louis 44, and now penalty flag before the snap. Procedure against Minnesota.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
According to Dante Culpepper, crowd noise is not really a factor. in this dome and for this Minnesota Vikings team.
Well, and the reason he said that is I don't think so much because this stadium doesn't have the ability to get loud, but more importantly, they have the means to communicate via hand signals so that if it does get loud, they don't have to verbally be able to exchange communication.
It's a gift they have. 3 wide receivers on the field. The Vikings will try to run out of this formation today. See if it happens here. They do. That's Mo Williams. And it's well played by St. Louis. Tommy Polley is there for the Rams.
Well, and right now, Minnesota, for the most part, is not running the football very effectively. And right there, the Vikings were trying to run the football against a 7-man defensive front. The Rams playing a 2-deep shell. And if the Vikings are not able to run the football versus that front, they're going to be in for a long day.
That is a direct quote from Mike Tice. We can't run against this Rams defense. It will be a long day, said Tice. Another run on 2nd down and 13, trying to stay with it. It's Mo Williams. Shy of the 40, 3rd and long coming up.
And that's really what you have to do when you're playing against a Randy Moss. You have to force the Rams to come out of that defense and try to get them up on the line of scrimmage. And I think this is the right approach. I don't believe in this stadium you want to try and get into a shootout against the St. Louis Rams.
3rd down and 6. Rams back out of the blitz, and out of the backfield it's Kleinsasser, the former fullback, now tight end, has a 1st down.
You know, the Rams right there, they go to their Tampa cover 2. Lovie Smith spent time there in Tampa Bay. You're going to watch the middle linebacker right here. He's going to turn and run, and he's got to get to the middle of the field, Tommy Polley. What that does is it opens up that zone that Kleinsasser's able to get into, and that's the weakness when you run that Tampa 2 and then run the middle linebacker down the middle.
First down Minnesota. Blitz coming from St. Louis, and Culpepper dumps it off to Burleson. He's got a 1st down near the 15.
That time the Rams were guessing run out of the Minnesota Vikings. They caught him off balance. Anytime that they're thinking run, they're going to drop Archuleta down. But now it creates some man coverage. You bring on the corner blitz here. You have man coverage. And right now the Minnesota Vikings receivers are a little bit better than these safeties and these defensive backs playing one-on-one.
That's the problem. If you bring pressure, you need to get there. Vikings pick it up with Michael Bennett.
Play action. That is a rocket to Randy Moss for a touchdown. What a throw. You can't throw it any better than Dante Culpepper just did for the first points for the Vikings.
Oh, you really can't, but it's not real good coverage as far as leverage at the snap of the ball. You're going to see he jumps to the outside. It's Jeremetrius Butler. It opens up that area of the field, and that's just pitch and catch. The safety, there's no way that he can get over there in time to help. You've got to play inside technique and force them to beat you on the outside down the goal line area.
The other thing, there's no reason to backpedal into your own end zone. The guy can't beat you deep from the 10-yard line.
So it's Moss into the end zone for the 11th time this season. And it was Culpepper who got it to him on a line. 10-7 here in St. Louis. Think of how this first quarter has unfolded. It was a key stop by the Vikings defensively. 2nd and goal from the 2. The 8-yard sack by Johnstone led to the field goal instead of 7 points. Arlen Harris gets across the 15 and takes a seat at the 17. Brian Russell on the stop. There's only 52 seconds left in a quick and exciting first quarter. Next week, the big game, the Cowboys at the Eagles. The Eagles are busy today while the Cowboys trying to lick their wounds after a disappointing game on Thanksgiving against Miami. Our other regional action coverage begins noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Up at the top of your screen, you see Philadelphia on top at Carolina 7-3. Philadelphia on top in the NFC East.
Regardless, that's going to be a great ball game next week between those two teams.
Dallas has already defeated Philly earlier this season. That'll be on Manu Maliuna, who's lined up as a fullback.
False start. Offense. Number 86. 5-yard penalty. first down.
And I'm a little surprised to see Brandon Manu-Maliuna lining up at the fullback position. I know that he's done that over the course of this season, but when they picked up Joey Goodspeed, as Mike Marks was telling us yesterday, it's allowed Manu-Maliuna to just focus on the tight end position because he was being asked to do so many different things in their various personnel packages that it has helped his play just being able to focus at tight end where he's lined up now.
On 1st and 15, Bulger over the middle. The pass is caught. That's Isaac Bruce, and he's got a first down out across the 35 near the 38. 25-yard pitch and catch.
Well, you come up and you challenge these Ram wide receivers, and this is what's going to happen. Isaac Bruce runs as good a route as anybody in the National Football League, and you can't keep pace with this guy. He's running a deep crossing route. Bulger recognizes the man-to-man coverage, and Mike Marks told us yesterday, anybody in the league wants to try to play man-to-man against Isaac Bruce or Torrey Holt, they're not going to be able to hold up, and they didn't hold up there.
Play action again, and Bulger finds Holt, and he's got a first down inside Viking territory at the 41. That's the end of the first quarter. You can look at the raw stats and say Mark Bulger has had a rough November with 10 interceptions, but there have been different periods during different games where he has been deadly accurate. Back-to-back great throws from Bulger, and the Rams are moving it again, 10-7. They are certainly not the loudest individuals, but right now, yardage-wise, that duo is the best. Holt and Bruce.
They really are. I mean, they're as good a tandem as there is in this league.
First down for St. Louis. A 3-point lead, and they're going to go back to the air. Gone. Bulger fires, and he hits Holt for another catch.
Well, I really think that right now the Minnesota Vikings, they came out in the zone that time, but I think they're making a mistake. They're trying to put the ball back into the hands of Mark Bulger and daring him to throw the football. He's had a bad stretch of games here, 4 touchdowns, 10 interceptions over the last 4 games, and they're basically saying, Mark Bulger, we want you to beat us, and so far he is.
Well, and the other thing is they know when the Rams want to throw the football, they want to get pressure on Mark Bulger. That's when he struggles. But if they don't get there, they're faced with man-to-man outside, and as we've already seen here in the first quarter, they can't hold up to that.
Here's a reverse to Bruce with Bulger blocking. Isaac Bruce has got a first down inside the 20. And if nothing else, Troy, Bulger got in the way.
And that's, you know, hey, I mean, that's all you got to do as a quarterback. Doesn't look real pretty, but it's pretty doggone effective. And, you know, you come out and you just try to shield to allow the guy to get to the outside, and that's exactly what Bulger does. As you see, he's not throwing a shoulder in there or anything, but it was effective in getting Isaac Bruce out on the edge.
Well, and Nick Rogers, a young outside linebacker who's used to playing defensive end in college, kind of got sucked down inside. And these young guys are, while they're very fast, they're not as knowledgeable in the game, and they do tend to make some mistakes.
9.5 yards of play for St. Louis, and back to the air again. Bulger finds Falk. And a terrific tackle out in space. That was Rogers who's getting the start at strong side linebacker, with Claiborne out at the weak side.
There aren't many people going to have the ability to tackle Marshall Faulk in the open field out there, but you see now why the Vikings are making the move to these young linebackers. They simply have to get them on the field. Not that Claiborne and Beaker and Crockett aren't good players, but they had to have some more athleticism because teams were just beating them to the edge, and athletically they couldn't get there.
Second down and 6. Handoff on a draw play to Falk. Marshall Faulk, that is terrific work. And an extra defensive back, Eric Kelly, was up to make the stop on that draw play. That'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
You know, this Minnesota team, we talked about the linebackers, how they want to try to incorporate these younger guys, get a little bit more speed on the field. And when you do that, that's why the Rams, 2 plays earlier, they were able to come back with the reverse. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword. If you go with the speed, then you've got to be careful, and you've got to make sure you stay and maintain your position and not overrun pursuit.
3rd down and 6. Bulger off his back foot, and that is terrific work, but a flag is thrown. Torrey Holt, the intended receiver, and Irvin was up his back.
And Mike Martz is going to be the happiest guy in the building. He has been lobbying these officials around the league, and Mike Pereira, the head of the officials, saying our guys have been getting grabbed, they've been getting held, and you guys aren't calling it.
Prior to the pass, holding defense, number 22, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Sometimes a little lobbying finally pays off.
I'll tell you this, I watched Mike Martz, as you see the right hand of Irvin grab the jersey of Holt. I watched Mike Martz during pregame warmups. He was walking around with John Shaw, and he went up to Terry McCauley, the referee, and had a little session with him.
I guarantee you that was part of it.
I guarantee you. And Martz actually told Lovie Smith and his defense, you know what, against Randy Moss, just mug him. Do what guys do to our wide receivers, and until they call it, just keep doing it.
That's the problem with pass interference. There's just absolutely no consistency from one officiating crew to the next.
Tossed Falk running left. Decent pickup on 1st and goal. Beekert forced him out.
And they left Isaac Bruce one-on-one at the top of the field against Brian Williams. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see if Mike Martz, after seeing that alignment, maybe come right back to it.
Another long drive by the Rams, who have dominated with time of possession. 2 tight ends now, as Cam Cleveland comes into the huddle and Holt gets a break.
You know, this Vikings defense really is not that good. What they've been able to do is get turnovers in games and stay in there, but so far in this one they haven't.
Play action. Bulger fires, and a flag is thrown. The pass is caught for a touchdown, but we'll check the marker. Isaac Bruce caught the pass and may have been guilty of a foul.
Yeah, I knew that Martz would see that as well.
Contact, defense.
Martz comes right back to it. They left him one-on-one the play before. Martz saw it, and he comes right back for the touchdown.
You know, I asked Mike Tice yesterday if they did. You were take a look here at the play, and he acts like he's running the fade route and then comes back in on the slant and is able to get inside position. I asked Mike Tice yesterday, is it paramount to get pressure with your front 4 so that you can double the outside guys? He said, no, I think our corners can hold up fine. So far, they've not.
All of that was predicated on a defense that gets turnovers, like you said, Chris, and what they perceived to be a quarterback who was rattled and a guy who had lost his confidence. It has been a stellar first half for Mark Bulger. Rams again lead by 10. Get video of a tree and then pick up Christmas gifts on the Fox tab. It's a nice little system they've got worked out right around the holidays.
Well, it's one of the perks of the job.
There's no doubt. As Wilkins gets rid of it, and Ontario Smith waits for it in the end zone. Thought about it, he'll take it out. And Smith can't get back to the 20. They're going to mark him at the 16. It was a touchdown throw to Isaac Bruce. And it's that reaction from his partner Torrey Holt on the sideline. 17-7.
Endless power. You'll
started out 9 of 11 for 120 yards and a touchdown throw. Good first half, and now Dante Culpepper trying to add on to what he and his offensive teammates did the last time they had the ball, which was get down the field and eventually throw a touchdown pass to Moss. Penalty flag.
Offense,
another false start.
Number 40, 5-yard penalty.
Kleinsasser is guilty. And this is us up here in the booth. If one more friend of mine says that I look vertically challenged standing next to Troy Aikman and Chris Collinsworth, I'm going to lose it. So we're going to just sit the rest of the season. Is that all right with you guys?
Hey, you're the boss.
Yeah, sure. Sure. First down and 15. And they stay on the ground. That's Bennett. Brought down very close to the 15-yard line. And so far, you're starting to see this St. Louis Rams team really do, I guess, what they did in the first half at Arizona, but the turnovers and the Cardinals came back. I know both you guys really like what you're seeing here, though, with the Rams.
Well, I like Mark Bulger. I mean, I think he's played exceptionally well, and he's had some problems at times, but the way he finished up last week and the way he's come out here today and played, he has made throws that fans just don't understand how good they've been.
2nd down and 12. Blitz coming from St. Louis, and Culpepper is sacked. And who else? Leonard Little, first game back, he's missed 4.
Well, that's his second big play of the day.
It's just unbelievable the difference that he can make coming around the corner, because now all of a sudden Grant Wistrom and other guys start to become a factor. He's just so quick. You know, you look at the offensive tackle out there, Mike Rosenthal, who's a good player, but he just simply couldn't get out of his stance fast enough to get out there and get to Little.
And Rosenthal has struggled here in recent weeks, and the Vikings have talked about trying to get him some help. They didn't give him any help there.
3rd and 18. Culpepper down the middle of the field, and wide open is Randy Moss for a big first down. 23-yard completion from Dante Culpepper.
And that's really the danger of the Minnesota Vikings. If you give Dante Culpepper time to throw the ball, which is what happens here, then you allow Randy Moss to get vertically down the field and find holes, and it puts tremendous pressure on this secondary for the Rams. They have got to get in Culpepper's face and not allow him that kind of time.
Vikings continue to get up to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. Blitz coming, and Culpepper will step up and run. He falls forward to the 36, a gain of 5.
Now that time they're in a man coverage because of the blitz coming. Michael Bennett did a beautiful job of stepping up and picking up the blitz. And we talked to Dante Culpepper about it. He's a big believer when their team is in man coverage playing against him and he sees it, he'll take off and run, because really that keeps defenses out of blitzing him as much as anything else.
Yeah, and Lovie Smith having to go to the blitz on that last play just to try to get pressure on him.
This is Mo Williams. Not much on 2nd down. 3rd down coming up after a gain of 2.
But really the story of the game so far, and the reason the score is what it is, the fact that the Minnesota Vikings have not been able to establish their running game. They've had to drop back and rely on Randy Moss and try and force the ball down the field.
Well, the Vikings have been good on 3rd down all season, 4th in the National Football League, and they're converting the last 4 out of 6. Another 3rd down chance here.
Looks like another blitz. Nope.
They don't come, and Culpepper will run for a first down and still go. Fisher and Aeneas Williams are out there to make the stop for the Rams after a huge gain of over 40 yards.
And Dante Culpepper told us yesterday that at times he'll drop back and just take the run if it's there. I think this one, however, was called. He goes 3 steps, immediately comes up the field. You see Burke and them trying to get on the linebacker level. And this was what Lovie Smith was most concerned about with Dante Culpepper. Not so much throwing the ball, but running it when they got into their man coverages.
Plus, he's bigger than the linebackers who are trying to tackle him.
He's bigger than the defensive ends, too.
They hand off Bennett. Polley on the stop for St. Louis. Gain of 2.
I think they're starting to get to Tommy Polley a little bit. The knock on him has always been that he's not a very physical player at the linebacker. 3 interceptions on the season. Does make plays in the passing game, but doesn't always stand up quite so well when those big guys are getting on him. But I've seen him make 2 or 3 good hits in the ball game today.
Good start for Dante Culpepper. Wistrom came across, and he's saying he was drawn off.
Snap, false start, offense, number 83, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And you're going to see Jeremitrius Butler. He's one-on-one on Randy Moss right here, but he knows he's supposed to have safety help. He's trying to get the safety over, and Pisatino Isamoa has to come over and cover the inside slot. And that's why Jeremitrius Butler was hollering and trying to communicate that, knowing that if the ball was snapped, he was going to be out on an island.
2nd down and 13. Rams come on a blitz. over the middle. That's Moss. And Randy Moss has a first down inside the 10. Forced out close to the 3. A gain of 20.
Dante Culpepper, I think, is doing a great job at the line of scrimmage of recognizing it and delaying the snap count, and then opening things up for Randy Moss across the field. So those guys are sitting up at the line of scrimmage, Troy, and they're doing this, but then all of a sudden Culpepper has time to figure out what's going on with the blitz coverage down the field.
The big thing, though, Chris, is they're not redirecting Randy Moss. They're allowing him free releases off the line, and you can't play Randy Moss that way.
Moss at the bottom of the screen, and Mo Williams is hit right at the line of scrimmage. Thomas was the first one there.
Talked about it a little bit earlier with Randy Moss and his ability to get vertical up the field, and knowing that as a defense you have to get physical with Randy at the line of scrimmage. You cannot allow him free releases, whether it's him going vertical or on the crossing routes. He'll just pick you apart.
Especially down around the red zone area, because you don't have to worry about him going deep.
On second down and goal, looking for Moss in the back of the end zone. Now throwing over his head. Pressure by Brian Young to force the throw, and that'll bring up 3rd and goal.
Well, anytime you're Randy Moss, you're not going to fool anybody. That time they try and go to the bootleg. I almost like the bootleg action to somebody other than Moss, because there's no way in the world they're going to get sucked in on the run fake with Randy Moss releasing off the ball.
You don't think the three-point stance fooled anybody into thinking he was a tight end? I think he was trying to hide down there, and maybe they'd think he was a tight end Klein saucer.
Yeah, I thought they were going to double down out there on the outside.
3rd and goal. Blitz coming from St. Louis, and Culpepper is sacked. That's Archuleta.
This is how they like to play with Adam Archuleta. They like to get him in the mix, and they like to blitz him. He's going to come to Dante Culpepper's backside, and he never sees him. Adam Archuleta right there, and the guard blocks down, opens up the lane, and Dante Culpepper just had no opportunity to unload that ball.
I think Culpepper almost had his attention focused to the right side where they had a blitz look, and then Archuleta hit him off the backside, and they just didn't see it.
Aaron Elling, 12 out of 17 this season, will try a 28-yarder. And hit. So that makes it a 7-point game here in St. Louis. We expected a shootout. We've seen a lot of offense so far in the city with the Arch. With Minnesota getting ready to kick it away, and Tino Isamoah is getting some in-game tutorials from coaches and defensive backs and anybody else who walks by, cheerleaders, you name them. They're going by telling him what to do against Randy Moss.
There's a lot of defensive players been trying to get advice against these two offenses. This has to make it being a lot of fun here today.
It's 17-10 Rams. And Elling kicks it away. Arlen Harris. Decent return across the 25. Boy, I miss those penalty flags. We haven't had a lot so far this game. Don't you?
Yeah.
Gone 3-1 record-wise, but 4 touchdown throws and 10 interceptions. Most interceptions thrown in the league during the month of November. But today, only 2 balls have hit the turf, and within those 9 completions, there have been some impressive throws.
Yeah, you don't think he's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I think it all started at the end of last week's game against Arizona, being able to bring that team back and win the game, and it's carried over here today.
On first down, Marshall Faulk is hit and brought down from behind by Big Fred Robbins. Good effort by Robbins. No gain.
Yeah, I like to watch Fred Robbins play. He's a guy to me that jumps out on the film. He's not an overly talented guy, not going to be a great pass rusher, have a bunch of sacks, but his job is to stop that middle, and he has the athleticism to run sideline to sideline that you don't always see out of a nose tackle.
4 wide receivers in the lineup for the Rams. Bolger throws sideline. That's Fury, and he's got a first down.
I tell you, Joe, I just don't agree with what Minnesota is trying to do right now. You can say, hey, we want to put the ball into Mark Bulger's hands, but you can't do it if you're going to play man-to-man coverage. Right here, it's one-on-one down here, and clear across the board. They dropped a safety in, trying to help in the event that they run the football, but they're not getting any pressure on Mark Bulger, and even Fury out there on the outside he's able to beat this man-to-man coverage. These guys across the board cannot hold up with the skill players that the Rams have.
On first down, they're going to stay throwing it. And Bulger airs it out down the middle. Holt the intended receiver, and it's picked off. Brian Russell. League-high 23rd interception by the Minnesota Vikings, and Russell with a return into Ram territory. Brought down at the 41. So Mike Martz, Mark Bulger weren't happy with just picking their way down the field. They air it out, and the interception is the result.
And it's a terrible play by Mark Bulger. It dropped back into a zone defense. They weren't in the man coverage here. You've got a free safety in the middle of the field. Had all the time in the world, and Mike Martz has been drilling Mark Bulger this week. Check it down. Let Marshall Faulk have it underneath. Don't throw it up for grabs. You can't do this against the Vikings. They have too many guys that can catch the football back in there in the secondary. 23 interceptions now in the year.
That's what got him in trouble last week against Arizona. He has the propensity to make some bad decisions, and that was one of them.
Could read Martz's lips saying, check it down. Bulger didn't. He throws his 18th interception. That's Kleinsaucer. Kleinsaucer is met by Fisher. Gain of 6. How about the NFC North? It was a happy Thanksgiving for Minnesota, for the Vikings and their fans when they saw Green Bay lose at Detroit. That means coming in, it's a game-and-a-half difference, a chance to make it a 2-game bulge in the NFC North with a win today.
And just nobody's really been able to create any separation. That makes this game here today a huge game for Minnesota. If they lose this game, it gets Green Bay right back in that divisional race.
So you know the Packers are watching this game as Culpepper throws and hits Moss. And Randy Moss is having his way with this Rams secondary. Jeremetrius Butler was the one beaten on the play.
You know, the problem is that Jeremetrius Butler is such a small guy. He's not willing to get up and get physical with Randy Moss. And anytime you got a guy of that caliber, you at least have to delay him off the line of scrimmage. No question that Butler can run with just about anybody in this league, but he's hurting this franchise by not being more physical at the line of scrimmage.
Another blitz from St. Louis, so Culpepper runs. A lot of room to run. He's hit, drilled from behind, hangs onto the ball after getting a big blow from Leonard Little. A pickup of 18, and Culpepper is finding a lot of room to run.
Well, here's the problem. When you decide to go man-to-man, you got corners that are going to have their backs turned to everything. They try to bring pressure. They create the lane right through here, and because everybody's running off, there's nobody there then to make the play on Dante Culpepper. He recognizes that. Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, recognizes it. Nice call.
First down and goal, another blitz. Mo Williams lost yards. Archuleta on the stop, a loss of 2.
And the Rams are just destroying this Vikings offense. The Vikings have been going up and down the field, but they get down here by the goal line. The blitz is eating them up.
2-minute warning in St. Louis. Minnesota knocking on the door, down by 7.
Fox NFL Sunday.
You had a great piece during our Fox NFL Sunday pregame show on the quarterback situation here in St. Louis. They'll have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports Ticker provides you with up-to-the-second scores and stats. The best running game for this Minnesota team, who came in desiring to establish a huge day on the ground, has been Dante Culpepper.
It's not the best, it's the only. They haven't done anything with anybody else.
65 yards. Only 18 shy of his career high, and we are 2 minutes remaining in the first half. 2nd and goal. Culpepper has time. Kleinsaucer stays on his feet. They're going to mark him down at the 1.
And that was a good call there by the official. His knee went down prior to the ball crossing the goal line. Nice spot.
You know, that's what I would do if I were the Vikings. I would almost use Randy Moss as a decoy down here on the goal line. He went back to the corner of the end zone, and everybody just drops off a Klein saucer. Then you put a guy with 272 pounds running up the field against a cornerback. It's a pretty good matchup.
The elbow of Klein saucer was down. It's now 3rd down and goal. And the Rams, because Fisher was still on the field, have to use a timeout. Fisher trying to get off the field. The Rams have only 1 timeout remaining. 3rd and goal when we come back.
Better be a run.
It's Williams. He is up and he is in. And we are an extra point away from a tie game here in St. Louis.
Well, you would have fooled me on that one. It was down there just literally inches away. I was really thinking Dante Culpepper. Good call.
So Mo Williams is up and in his 4th touchdown of the season. And the extra point by Elling to tie it. So Mike Tice, who actually has a chart to when to go for it or not on 4th down, went for it. Vikings make it, and they tie the game here in St. Louis. Rams will get it back, and Arlen Harris on the return from the 7. Ducks down at the 20, and they're going to mark him shy of the 19-yard line. That's where the Rams will have it with 1 timeout remaining in a tie game. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Hey, Joe, a little scary moment for the Rams offensive line. Rams left tackle Orlando Pace got caught up in that mayhem after that Bolger interception and got up very slowly. The trainers checked him out. They say he has a bruised left shoulder. As you can see, he is in the ball game.
I'll tell you one thing offensive linemen hate is when there's an interception, especially a deep interception down the field like that last one. And boy, defenders getting a chance to just knock your head off, and that's what happened to Orlando Pace.
Jack Clifton for the Green Bay Packers, a guy who knows that better now than ever after that hit from Sapp last year. Dumping it off to Falk. McCollum out in front, and Marshall Falk with a huge play. Brought down from behind. They'll mark him at the 49-yard line with 33 and counting seconds to go.
I tell you, and some young running backs can learn from watching Marshall Falk, the way he ran that screen. He was patient. He allowed his offensive lineman to get out in front of him. Great job by Marshall Falk.
Instead of spending their final timeout, the Rams get up to the line and now find Holt inside the 35, and they'll spend their timeout.
You know, that is the problem. And I know it's almost cliche, but they wasted 2 more timeouts here in the first half. This could have been a touchdown scoring drive here, the way they're moving the ball right now.
Here's the screen that they ran 2 plays previously. Watch Marshall Falk as he slows down and allows his lineman, Andy McCollum, to get out in front of him. He sets up the block, and then he allows him to get up in there and get more out of that play. You don't see that very often by these running backs, but just an experienced play by Marshall Falk.
And Torrey Holt, who is on pace this year to break Jerry Rice's all-time receiving yards record, a record that I didn't think would ever be touched. But if he keeps playing the way that he's playing, he's going to get it pretty easily.
You know, I thought it was interesting talking with him that once he signed the big contract this offseason, he rededicated himself to preparation, studying film, getting ready for the season. Isaac Bruce has been doing that for quite some time. He convinced Torrey Holt to get more into the film room, and he feels it's paid off this season in his play.
47 seconds were on the clock when this drive started. This play has to be either to the end zone, to the boundary, and this is Holt behind the defense, but overthrown. And now with 4 seconds remaining, Jeff Wilkins will trot on and try to give the Rams a halftime lead.
Great move by Holt down the field. The one thing the Vikings are so concerned about is that corner route, so they fake the corner route and come back and actually had a shot at it. It looked like it was going to be there as Brian Russell slipped on the play, but Bolger may be feeling it from that last interception and the chewing out that he took. Wanted to take no chances there.
Wilkins has already been good from 28. 28 out of 30 on the season. 51-yard try. Mike Martz calls him money. and it's 20-17 at the half.
This is kind of fun, guys, huh?
Everything we could have expected and I think hoped for coming into this game. There will be a lot of readjusting in the locker rooms at halftime by these two defenses. It's been an offensive light show. 20-17 St. Louis at the half. The Visa halftime report coming up. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy right after this from your local Fox station.
Football players, sometimes I worry about them. It's such a tough game with all the hits they have to take week after week. What if you pull a groin? You could miss a few games.
NASCAR returns to Fox.
St. Louis Rams. Mark Bulger, 12 out of 16 for 180 yards. He did throw a touchdown, and that interception, I know, is something that will go in the category of a huge mental error by Mark Bulger.
It really was. It was really costly for this football team, and he was doing so well being patient, taking the outside routes versus the man-to-man coverage, and then he just got greedy, and that's what he's got to guard against. That seems to be something that he has done here in recent games. He just tries forcing a throw, and it's gotten intercepted much like it did today.
The Rams will start with it on the ground with good speed blocking in front of Marshall Faulk. Faulk has a first down.
You know, there's really nothing to do against this Rams offense. So now they come back, the Vikings do, with the soft cover 2 look. They're going to say, okay, let's make Marshall Faulk try and beat us. Let's not give up the big pass plays anymore. And you come out on first down, and the guy goes for 11 yards. I mean, it really is the great dilemma that all defensive coordinators face.
That is the dilemma being faced by George O'Leary, the defensive coordinator of this Vikings team. Another run. Again, it's Faulk picking his way, and coming up from the safety spot is Russell for the tackle, a gain of 3. The first half stats, it jumped out to you, Chris, and then you alerted Troy and I to it. That bottom number that you would be hard pressed to convince somebody that's watched this entire game that the time of possession has clearly favored Minnesota.
That, and the other thing is that the Vikings have already rushed for over 100 yards as a team. It didn't appear that they were running the ball that effectively, but they have had some success on the ground, primarily because of Dante Culpepper.
He has 65 of those yards. First throw of the second half. Bulger throws off his back foot and out of bounds. Manu Maliuna was the closest one to it. Pressure by Robbins on the play.
And when you watch these receivers go down the field, and every week we see fast receivers, but for some reason, Troy, when I watch the Rams receivers, it just looks like they get up on the defensive backs so fast, so much faster than we see other guys with that same ability.
You know, it's a good point, Chris. And I played in this offense with Michael Irvin, and these coaches stress to these wide receivers. They want you almost beating the snap coming off the ball. And Henry Ellard, the wide receivers coach, was as good as there's ever been in the league running routes and coming off the ball. And that's what they coach. Much different than the offensive style that Minnesota runs in their passing game.
This looks like man coverage here.
They didn't get the play away. Delay a game against St. Louis.
And I say it each week.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You know, that's on the quarterback. He's got to understand how much time's on the play clock. The play may be coming in a little bit late from the sidelines. That has happened over the years with Mike Martz, but Mark Bulger has got to alert those guys in the huddle that they've got to get up to the ball and they've got to get it snapped.
Yeah, with all the success that Bulger has had, you kind of forget just how young and inexperienced he is. I mean, he's not a guy that's played a lot of football in the NFL.
Well, basically about a year's worth of games. Of course, 14-3 as the starter.
On 3rd down and 12, Bulger hit as he let it go, and he completes it to Holt, who has a first down.
And Denard Walker is just not going to be able to hold up. This is a play I thought the Vikings were going to win because of the pressure they got on Bulger, but this time he didn't flinch. This time he stood in there, took his hitch steps, and got the football out. And then to Aston Walker, who really is struggling a little bit right now in the secondary. He's lost his legs, not quite the guy he was at the beginning of the season. Tough matchup.
From the 45, a handoff to Falk. And a pickup of 2.
Of course, Marshall Falk has always been such a big part of this Rams passing game. You know, 80 receptions is what he's averaged here over the last several years. Of course, he's not going to get that this season. Only 23 receptions coming into this game, primarily because of the injuries that he has suffered. But he has been such a major part of the success for this Rams team for many, many years, and they miss him when he's not out on the field playing.
So he's not now. Lamar Gordon is in a tailback, and they toss to Gordon. Nice run by Gordon up to midfield. Gain of 4, and it will be 3rd down and 5. Kevin Williams on the stop. You look at the playoff picture in the NFC. The top 6 make it. Those are the division leaders at the head of the graphic, and then there's Dallas and Seattle. And there's a matchup coming in a couple of weeks of the Seattle Seahawks here in St. Louis.
There's some really great races, some great games coming down the stretch. Of course, a game separating the NFC East, and then also a game separating the NFC West, and those two teams will be playing each other here next week.
On 3rd down, Bulger trying to run for it. He's brought down shy. Good play by Lance Johnstone. No gain on the play, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And Lance Johnstone really saved it. This was cover 2 man, where you're going to have man-to-man coverage on everybody out here. So they're going to run off. And if Johnstone doesn't make this play, look at all the space in the middle of the field. Just going to run for about 30 or 40 yards.
Well, that's the difference. Dante Culpepper has the speed in order to take advantage of that when they go man-to-man. Mark Bulger does not have quite the same elusiveness.
And Culpepper would have broken that tackle right there.
Landetta. This is Howry with a fair catch called for, and a bad punt by Landetta as it is down outside the 20. They'll mark it at the 24. 1st down Minnesota. When we come back, they're down 3. We had a big day at the game and thought we wore her out, but boy, she just run around the house like crazy.
Won't sleep for a week.
Health food.
From their own 24, Minnesota with it, down by 3. And now Culpepper changing it. And there was movement on the right side by Rosenthal.
Prior to snap, false start, offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
The offensive leaders, the 2 guys you think about for Minnesota coming into a game. Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper.
You know, it's interesting as you talk about Mark Bulger and some of the criticism that he's been under. Dante Culpepper has also been under some criticism there in Minnesota, which is surprising. This guy's 3rd in the National Football League in quarterback rating.
They go to the ground, and a cutback run by Bennett. Play designed to go left. He cut it back to the right, and a gain of 14.
Well, the Rams just really aren't doing much of a job on this backside contain at all. They want to crash down and try and chase that stretch play. But at some point, you've got to have somebody that's backside. Leonard Little that time tried to crash inside Kleinsasser and just left absolutely nobody. The linebackers have to flow to that side of the ball, so Little has to contain.
Ball came out, but it was ruled down. Rams came away with it, but no fumble call. 2nd down and 2, and they reverse it to Kelly Campbell. And the little guy who can really run has got a 1st down out across the 45. Seahorn on the stop. So Campbell on the end around, and there's Dante Culpepper. And what kind of a day has it been for him? What he's done through the air and on the ground. He's been as valuable, if not more valuable, to the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, he's such a big part of this offense, him and, of course, Randy Moss. But he's the tempo setter. When he's playing well, this Vikings offense has a chance.
On first down. Culpepper fires, and Moss is left all alone. Randy Moss is down inside the 35. They'll mark him at the 31.
And then when you get Randy Moss playing well, then you got a pretty lethal combination. And again, Travis Fisher just playing so soft right there, and there's nobody underneath. Normally, if you're going to play soft with a corner, then you're going to run linebackers underneath that slant route once they see that it's passed. So far, they've got no help from the linebackers, and Travis Fisher obviously just trying to keep from giving up the big play.
First down, Minnesota. Blitz coming, and Culpepper is sacked. Again, it's Archuleta. It's second of the day and 4th on the year.
Same they ran earlier.
The exact same blitz they caught him on down on the goal line, coming to the backside with 4. Just going to come dropping down late, and you can just essentially tell, based on the coverage, that they're going to be coming right here. And Dante Culpepper is going to either have to start audibling out of that or throwing some hot reads. Looked like Mo Williams that time late getting over on the pickup.
Second down and 16. Culpepper dumps it off. Williams started to run before he caught it.
It's a bad series for Mo Williams. He missed his assignment on the blitz pickup and then missed the screen. You have to throw some screens over here to Leonard Little's side if you can't get him blocked. And he's so fast coming around the corner, it's going to be tough to ever get him blocked. It's one of the things the Vikings felt like they were doing a lot better job of at this time of year was throwing those screens.
Third down and 16. Another screen. This is Bennett. And Bennett is brought down shy of first down yardage at the 25 by Pollard. Field goal unit heads onto the field for Mike Tice.
With Minnesota, they start moving the ball pretty effectively, and then they just have a play here or a penalty or something happens that keeps them from being able to come away with more points. Now they're going to have to try to settle for another field goal.
Well, you know, every time they've been in a position, Troy, they've been hit with a blitz. You know, that backside blitz has really taken about 10 points off the board for them.
43-yard try, and they fake it. And the toss incomplete. It's an incomplete pass, and the Rams will take over.
I'm not so sure somebody didn't miss the call. There was nobody there to pitch it to.
Well, Farad was pitching it. Nobody was even looking for it.
Yeah, it looked like the kicker might have been the guy who needed to come across and take it, and Farad's just trying to hold the end and then make the pitch. Actually, no, it was Stackhouse. It looked, no.
Turnover on downs.
Well, heck, you know, they're changing numbers on us.
Here's Stackhouse here. He's going to try and come underneath, but Brian Young is going to shoot right up the middle and trip up Stackhouse and destroy the play.
Yeah, I thought it was better them trying to get it to Stackhouse as opposed to Aaron Elling on the on the thought.
Handoff is to Marshall Falk, and he gets half a yard.
They're doing a pretty good job now against the run. It looks like they've changed their strategy here coming out in the second half. If the Rams are going to beat them, it looks like they want the ball in Marshall Falk's hands and take it out of the wide receivers.
They just can't decide on whose hand they want the ball in, can they?
And I don't blame them. It's a tough deal.
I don't think Chris can either. Second down and 9.
I didn't want to be quite that pointed.
You both were.
Play action. Bulger steps up and fires down the middle, and the pass is caught. Isaac Bruce. Boy, every time Bulger is firing downfield, Bruce or Holt are waiting for it, and these guys just do not drop passes.
I tell you what, it's unbelievable. Watch the square in here, and as he loses ground coming out of the break, he starts downhill and the ball's on him, and it's just the anticipation of the passing game. Isaac Bruce runs as good a routes as anybody in this league, and you can tell the confidence that Mark Bulger has in both him and Torrey Holt throwing it on time before he's even out of his break.
And Denard Walker having a tough game over there trying to keep up.
Pass is complete to Holt. trying to make a move, and he'll dive forward for a couple extra, 1 yard shy of a first down. Coming this February, feel the rush as NASCAR returns to Fox for 17 weeks of high-speed thrills and excitement as another season begins. Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Matt Kenseth meet the world's best drivers when NASCAR returns to Fox this February. Second down and a yard for St. Louis with 5.5 to go in the third quarter. And they give an inside handoff. Now a reverse to Bruce, who throws. Wide open is Looker. What a play. And Looker is out of bounds inside the 10, out at the 5. What a play.
That's not fair.
Great play and great job of putting this play in by Mike Martz. You're going to see Dane Looker. He's going to shift from a wide receiver position to the backfield. They're going to come here and go Dane Looker into the backfield. Right there, you know, something is strange. Obviously, he's not there to run the football. They come back and run the fake reverse and toss it off. And as a result, Dane Looker, he goes running along the outside, and nobody picks him up. Isaac Bruce is able to get the ball into his hands. Great job of execution on a play that was probably just put in this week.
Well, after the euphoria of that play, the Rams didn't get a play in and have to spend a timeout, first and goal, when we come back. First down and goal, and they hand off to Falk running left. Marshall Falk, his second of the day. And now 6th, all alone on the all-time touchdown list. Moving past Walter Payton, and with Randy Moss sitting and watching, the Rams will have a chance to go up 10.
And Joey Goodspeed, the fullback, he's going to put on a crushing block there, which kicks it out the linebacker and gives Marshall Falk the lane to get into the end zone.
Yeah, that's the hard part. They hit you with one of those trick plays before, and then they run something straight at you with the bootleg action off of it. And it's just hard to keep up with everything happening on the field.
So Marshall Falk gets his second of the day into the end zone, basically untouched. And now in a backup role on the sideline, Kurt Warner celebrates with his teammates. It started with a fake field goal try by the Minnesota Vikings that didn't work. The Rams took over, went downfield, and Falk is in for the second time today and the 126th time in his career. Ontario Smith from a yard deep in the end zone. Smith is out to the 20 and beyond, and a penalty flag comes in at the end of the play. It'll be a hold against the Vikings, which will back them up closer to their own zone.
During return, holding receiving team number 86, 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Marshall Falk started the day 7th on the all-time list. He is now past Walter Payton and is 5th on the all-time list, tied with Jim Brown, 27-17. Career touchdown list as Marshall Falk has, and the names are Walter Payton and Jim Brown in the same game. Unbelievable. Now with 126. Handoff is to Bennett. Middle of the field wide open, and Bennett is brought down at the 29. A lot of people don't realize, as you watch Marshall Falk, his second of the day, that Jim Brown walked away in 1965 after a rushing title at the age of 29 years old. Wanted to pursue the acting career, wanted to change up in his life. He left on top. And Marshall Falk has tied him on the career touchdown list. On first down, Dante Culpepper is sacked. And again, it's Leonard Little.
That's his third big play of the day. As we said earlier, Mike Martz felt that he could have 6 big plays in this game, and he reads this one pretty well. He doesn't come flat down the line as he's been showing earlier in the game. Comes up the field and is not fooled at all by the fakes by Dante Culpepper.
17, number 22.
So a loss of 7 on the play. As the Vikings try to bring out one of their tricks, it's 2nd down and 17. Out of the shotgun, out of the backfield, it's Bennett. And Bennett is up to the 29-yard line. Let's go out to Los Angeles for a game break. Here's JB.
Hey, Joe Buck, Carolina, despite missing 3 field goals, still in this game. Jake DeLong, play action, hooking up with Steve Smith, who was out in the first half with a hip injury. That 24-yard touchdown narrows the gap, 13-10, Philly in the third. Back to Joe Buck.
Hard to believe those misses by Casey.
Well, and one thing you know, you can't count Carolina out at any time.
3rd down and 10.
Here comes that blitz again.
A blitz from St. Louis. The pass is tipped and intercepted. Tyoka Jackson comes away with it. Tyoka Jackson, who really stepped up for this Rams team when Leonard Little was injured. He has been a game day captain, and he comes down on the other end of that tip for his first pick.
You know, they're bringing that backside blitz, and that time Adam Archuleta looked like he was coming down in the blitz, dropped back out of it. But once that ball's tipped up in the air, there's just no chance for the quarterback. All day long, every time they needed a big play, Lovie Smith has dialed up the blitz, and it's caused all kinds of headaches for Dante Culpepper.
And Tommy Pauly, who's been struggling in recent weeks, is the guy who gets the hand on it, which allows for the interception.
Right back to the air. Bulger makes a move, and now he'll run. Try and get there and score. Nifty move by Bulger at the beginning of that play to avoid the pass rush, and then saw a lane and took it in for the touchdown.
It really was, Joe. He comes out on the naked, and he gets pressure, and he shows patience here. And he has the interception earlier in the game. He doesn't want to try to force anything on this play. He keeps it. He's able to get in for the touchdown.
I think there's some teams around the NFL going, uh-oh, the Rams look like they're back.
4th rushing touchdown of the season for Bulger. Tyoka Jackson with the interception. Set it up. It's 34-17. It's 34-17 here in St. Louis, and the Rams, who lead the NFL in takeaways, just got number 34, a tip by Pauly into the hands of Jackson. And 4 rushing touchdowns this season for Mark Bulger. And when you look back on this game, you can look at one mistake by Mark Bulger on that deep throw for the interception. Other than that, this is a big game for number 10 for St. Louis.
It really is. And when talking with him the other day, you could tell that he was starting to feel a little bit of the pressure that's part of being the starting quarterback in the National Football League. But he has certainly responded well here today.
The Minnesota Vikings will try to climb back in it. Ontario Smith on the return. Vikings could use a big return, and Smith provides it for Minnesota out across the 30.
You know what's interesting about Mark Bulger is he's almost a shy kid. He almost doesn't want the attention. A lot of quarterbacks, very strong personalities, dynamic guys. The team sort of gravitates around him at all time. He doesn't like the attention. He doesn't like the media. That's a burden to him during the course of the week. What he likes is putting on the uniform and coming out here and making plays.
Yeah, says the 3 hours here on the field is the most enjoyable part of his week. Able to get away from some of the scrutiny that he's recently endured.
2:31 remaining. We're only in the 3rd quarter, and the Vikings will go back to work. They're certainly not out of this game as the pass is behind Kleinsaucer. He is hit by Archuleta. Picked up 5.
Well, and this becomes a huge possession now for the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams have scored on 6 of 8 possessions in this game. And because they're starting to hit stride, Minnesota has got to keep that offense on the sidelines, and they've got to be able to come away from this drive with some kind of points.
The first one of the day and the most recent. 2 one-play scoring drives. It's 2nd down and 5. That's Bennett. And the running game today outside of Dante Culpepper has not done much for the Vikings. And coming into this game, this was a matchup that Mike Tice said repeatedly. In fact, he said, we wouldn't want to play any other team this week. We like the matchups we have against the St. Louis Rams.
And I don't think the Vikings are going to reach their 35 carries that Mike Tice wanted. And it's not going to be because of Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator. It's going to be because of the offense of the St. Louis Rams.
3rd down and 5. Over the middle, Mo Williams is drilled, but he hangs on for a 1st down. Tino Isamoa with the hit, and Mo Williams able to hang on to the football for a fresh set of downs.
I don't think Tino Isamoa could believe that Mo Williams held on to this one. After he makes the contact, he stands back up and just collapses to the ground. He sort of gets up and does a pratfall. Look like Chevy Chase out there.
I don't think Mo Williams could believe he hung on to the ball either.
45 seconds and counting remaining in this 3rd quarter. Pass out to the right is behind Moss. Aeneas Williams was out there defending.
Well, it didn't look like Moss was really expecting that football. Sort of a half-hearted turn and effort for the ball.
And I don't think you can say enough about Aeneas Williams and what he's meant to this team since coming over here from the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, we've seen him line up at safety, which is primarily where he plays. There he was playing corner on Randy Moss, but he plays a lot of different positions for this team defensively and a great leader for the team as well.
The 2 one-play scoring drives. There's a lot to do with that. Second down and 10. Out of the backfield, it's Kleinsasser, and he stays on his feet. Is brought down about half a yard shy of a 1st down.
And what we're definitely seeing is Minnesota and Dante Culpepper being very patient in their approach. The Rams are playing a little bit of cover 2 now, more than what they were running a little bit earlier, not wanting to give up the quick score. But Dante Culpepper mentioned to us last night that he had to be patient when he got the 2 deep shell and come underneath the Kleinsasser and then Mo Williams or Michael Bennett. And that's what he's done so far.
The Vikings do not have to snap it again before the end of the quarter, and they won't. That is the end of quarter number 3. The score 34-17 St. Louis. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Side. The Vikings coming in first place in the North, 7-4, and the Rams lead the West at 8-3. 3rd down and 1. They hand off, and it depends on the spot. Mo Williams on the carry, and it's a 1st down for Minnesota.
And really right now for the Vikings, they have to get it going. It is one of those that you got to begin to think about taking some shots, taking some chances with the offense. They want to stay with this running game, but you just can't assume that the Rams aren't going to score anymore from here. So the pace has to begin to quicken a little bit.
Culpepper to throw on 1st down. Stays on his feet. Polley forces him out of bounds at the 40.
You know, the Rams go to a cover 3 there, and one of the weaknesses when you go to that cover 3 zone is in the seams, and Randy Moss is going to be in the slot right here in the middle, and he gets a good release. They don't get the jam on him, and if you're able to stick the ball in there right on the numbers, had a good opportunity to get the ball into his hands, and then he's one-on-one with Adam Archuleta to get into the end zone. I like my chances with Randy Moss.
Now it's Jeremetrius Butler covering him at the top of the picture. It's 2nd down and 5. They hand the ball off, and it's Bennett. He's got a 1st down and more. Michael Bennett forced out of bounds inside the 15 by Williams.
Well, that's the thing that Michael Bennett adds to this offense. Adam Archuleta is going to come up and try and make the hit on him and just flat out whiffed on it. But Michael Bennett gives you big play capability in the running game, and that's what they didn't have with Mo Williams back there and even with Ontario Smith. Michael Bennett, one of the most explosive players there is in the game.
Well, and it's been a great drive. Started on the 12-yard line.
This is where they've been getting hit with the blitz, though.
On first down, rolling right is Culpepper. Moss, incomplete. And more times than not lately, when Moss has been downfield, it's been Aeneas Williams the one covering him as opposed to one of the two young corners.
Yeah, and I think that's smart by Lovie Smith, because I got to tell you, obviously Aeneas Williams, he's slowing down. I mean, he's gotten older, but when I was playing, to me, he was the best corner in the game of football. I mean, this guy could do it all. He could get physical. He could play the bump and run. He could play off. He gave you a lot of different looks, and I think that's why they have a comfort level with him on Randy Moss. And one thing that they have right now is the end line, so Randy Moss can't just run by people. They don't have to respect that right now.
Blitz coming from St. Louis. They hand to Randy Moss, running out to the left, and he just tap dances out of bounds. Third down coming up. Fisher forced him out, a gain of 5.
Well, they came with the blitz inside, so it really was a pretty good call. Archuleta's going to come up the middle, trying to anticipate either the pass or the run up the gut. And then Randy Moss was able to get to the outside. So there are some games being played, but it's clear to me that Scott Linehan now is making calls, anticipating that blitz that has been hurting this team so much.
Third down and 5. The pass to Moss. And it was Sehorn who came up to make the stop. Troy, did I see that right? Did it look like the Rams were leaving Moss uncovered, trying to get the ball to Randy Moss, all the while knowing that Sehorn was going to come up and make the play?
Yeah, they clearly knew. They bring pressure, and they clearly knew that the only way that Moss could get into the end zone was to get vertical, and that's why you saw Jason Sehorn playing inside out from off, hoping that they would throw the route that they just ran. And now again, Mike Tice electing to go for it on 4th and 3.
Culpepper loses the football. Aeneas Williams is off. Mo Williams will try and catch him, so will Culpepper. The foot race to the end zone. Touchdown, no flags. For the touchdown after a fumble forced by Brian Young.
And it's hard to believe the same exact blitz again is going to beat this football team all day long. They finally get that time. Mo Williams picking up Adam Archuleta, and then Aeneas Williams just off to the races.
And Chris, Dante Culpepper, he's got to know blitz is coming, and when you go 3-step drop, you've got to realize you cannot hold the ball and think that you're going to have protection.
Leonard Little was in the backfield to make another play. What's his count up to now if Little makes another play? 5?
I think that's 4. Yeah, 5 next time.
90 yards for a touchdown. And this defense has made a couple of huge plays. And they've opened it up on Minnesota. Yards for a touchdown. His first touchdown of the season. Third fumble recovery for a touchdown of his career. He's a guy who also has a 104-yard return for a touchdown on his resume. Bad news for him is he has to go back out on defense. It's opened up to a 41-17 game, and Ontario Smith takes it. And a penalty flag flies on this kick return. It's a hold against Minnesota.
During return, holding, receiving team, number 24, 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
A big NFC battle coming in. The Rams have blown it open here. The reaction by Mike Tice after the failure on a 4th down attempt. A little different by Lovie Smith across the field. Consecutive time here at home. Vikings not having much fun here in the second half. A 3-point game at the half, and all of a sudden it's 41-17. Culpepper with time finds Randy Moss. And a first down for Minnesota. Fisher on the stop.
Just bringing too many people over on this side, and Leonard Little coming in completely unblocked, setting up Aeneas Williams, who really drew the blocker off of Little to set up the play. But for Leonard Little, this has just been a monster return to the lineup.
What the Ravens are doing to the 49ers, just blowing them out. As that pass is caught by Campbell. Gain of 4.
Talked to Leonard Little before the game, and I asked him, is there anything that you can't do with that brace on your arm? He has the torn pectoral muscle, and you can see it right underneath here. And he said, absolutely nothing. I can do it all out here today. So he came ready to play, and he has proven it.
Yeah, he has done it all here today.
2nd down and 6. Blitz coming from St. Louis, and that is flipped to Williams, who is tackled from behind. Aeneas Williams came on a blitz and then peeled off to make the tackle.
Yeah, I mean, another guy who's having a heck of a ball game is Aeneas Williams, and you're right, Joe. He's come on the blitz on that play, and they pick it up. You're going to see him coming into your screen right here. They pick him up. They do a nice job, Brian McKinney, but he keeps playing, and then he's the guy who gets across the field and makes the play on Bennett on the screen.
Good to have some of that brain power on the field, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
3rd down and 5. Rams showing blitz again. And they come. And another sack. Tino Isamoa.
I mean, it's just been no contest. It's not hard to write the storyline for this game. I can do it in just a few words. Mike Tice's team could not pick up the blitz.
They're coming right up in through the gaps and bringing more people that can be blocked up. And boy, right now Minnesota just has no answers for it.
Eddie Johnson hits a beauty. And a fair catch caught over the shoulder by Fury. They'll mark it down at the 30. There is a penalty flag, an ineligible man downfield.
Might kick that one again. That was a pretty successful punt.
Ineligible downfield on the kick. Kicking team, number 59. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Yep. Lovie Smith's come out here in the 2nd half of this game and pitched a shutout. Remember, this one was 20-17 going in at the half, and Lovie made a few adjustments, and I think the adjustment was just everybody come. You guys just bring it on them.
Yeah, and it's, you know, really pretty remarkable when you talk about Leonard Little. He'd missed the last 4 games, had 7 sacks coming into the game, and even having missed those games was leading the team in sacks. And then he comes into this one and creates 3 sacks and, of course, the forced fumble. And it's really remarkable what he's been able to do. He was well on pace to be a Pro Bowl player, and hopefully those games that he missed won't hurt him in the voting because he's played at a Pro Bowl level this year.
Well, the leaders in sacks are just around 12 and a half, so he's right back in the hunt.
Fury, a fair catch at midfield. So the Rams gain about 20 yards after that ineligible man downfield call. Rams have it at midfield, and they are leading 41-17. Aeneas Williams, part of a big defensive effort today for St. Louis as they lead it 41-17, and the Rams have it at midfield. A few chances for Mike Martz to dip into that playbook here in the 2nd half. Handoff is to Falk, and he is hit and hit hard. Back to the line of scrimmage and back to Los Angeles for a game break. Here's James Brown.
Joe Buck, it finally happened. Michael Vick, his first series of the season, play action, rolling, completed the pass to Justin Griffith. 17-10, Houston's on top, but more importantly, let me go to Troy Aikman and ask, if Vick is healthy enough to be the number 2 guy, should he not be the starter today? Back to you guys.
Well, I don't know about today, JB, but if it's good that he got out there and played. I felt that when he was 100%, he should get out and play. He has. I would fully expect him, though, to be the starter next week.
2nd down and 10 here in St. Louis. No surprise, still on the ground. Got a huge block, Falk did, and he is down to the 34-yard line.
Yep, we're starting to see Marshall Falk back. The quickness is there, and no question about it. Having the fullback Joey Goodspeed in this lineup has really helped. It's allowed them to put Brandon Manu Maliuna back at the tight end position where he performs best. So you get the block down here, you get Goodspeed around the corner, and he's going to clean it right up. And Marshall Faulk just gets to run in space, and nobody does that better.
Well, and Biekert never even sees Goodspeed come around, and I guarantee you'll see him next time.
Got that little scar on his neck that all good fullbacks have.
On first down, Marshall Faulk. Little spin around, still on his feet.
Get out of here.
Looking for a block. One man to beat, and Faulk has had a huge day. Is down inside the 10. Chavis forced him out.
That was Barry Sanders-like right there.
Wow. I mean, there was nothing. It was over. It was game, set, and match, and he just kept spinning.
You watch him as he gets up into the line. He should have been brought down right there. He just keeps going.
2. That's fun.
And then it's over.
Uh-oh. I mean, really, when the rest of the league gets hold of this tape, you've got this offensive line coming together. You got Goodspeed. You got Marshall Faulk getting healthy. You get Mark Bulger back on track. The defense played well here in the second half. Look out.
Lamar Gordon tries the right side, and gang tackling by the Vikings. Loss on the play of a couple.
Who do you think is the best team right now in the NFC?
I tell you, coming into this game, I really felt the best teams in the NFC were the Philadelphia Eagles and the St. Louis Rams. And I thought that even though Mark Bulger had struggled, they had found ways to win, which I think is a real positive indication about the rest of your team. And now you get Mark Bulger playing like he is today. This team's as dangerous as anybody in the league right now.
Well, you know, the other thing is they just played 4 out of 5 games on the road. I mean, nobody's going to look that good playing that many games on the road. Now they have 3 out of 5 at home. Pretty tough team here.
Handoff is to Faulk. He will cruise for his 3rd of the day. Now 5th. All alone on the all-time touchdown list.
This offensive line does a good job of just getting some push and then creating some separation. And Marshall Faulk, he doesn't need much. And boy, I tell you what, quarterback's best friend is when you've got a guy who can run the football and pound out some yards, and that's exactly what this Rams team's been able to do today.
Vikings look like they're about to say no mas.
Go Roberto Duran on everybody.
Yeah.
What's the score? 48-17 as the Rams offense is having a huge day. Olivia LaSala makes her NFL on Fox debut, and it's a 48-17 game. And boy, there are a lot of interesting storylines to bring up now as we make our way through the last 6 minutes and 48 seconds here in St. Louis. And the discussion really centers on the backups. And I don't think, as Steve Horn, our editorial consultant in the booth, brings up, the backup situation for each team is so hot right now, such a hot button topic, that you wonder if Martz would go to Warner in mop-up time, and on the other side, if Mike Tice would even think about bringing in Gus Frerotte at any point the rest of the way, because Frerotte won 2 games, was good after Culpepper was hurt in the game against Detroit, and there's even a mini controversy there.
Well, I think it's much more volatile on the Vikings side. I would not want to put Frerotte in there for fear that he might do something, because if you really want to play Culpepper, then you don't want to get those fans going. They were chanting Gus, Gus, Gus last week.
That's Mo Williams, gets it on the pass over the middle. Brought down right at the first down marker, and it is a first down for Minnesota.
And I think it's crazy to be discussing, you know, how explosive the backup quarterback situation could potentially be with either one of these teams. I mean, Mark Bulger has played outstanding today. Dante Culpepper has played well, and he's played great all season.
Well, that's right. And the reason the Vikings are in this position today is not so much because of their offense, it's because their defense is just outmatched.
That's exactly
And
right.
honestly, they have been for a long time. They got away with it, and disguised it a little bit because of the turnovers, but they're just not that good.
Same play to Mo Williams. Only a gain of 3. Let's go out to JB. JB?
Hey, Joe Buck. Carolina narrowing the gap against Philadelphia. Take a look at Jake Delhomme hooking up 23 yards to Nusha Muhammad. Extra point is no good. Time permitting, we will take it to this contest. 22-16 back to Joe Buck.
I tell you, don't count him out.
Jake the Snake.
Jake Delhomme.
Extra point is no good. That's 10 points with them left on the field. Casey's missed 3 field goals and now an extra point. Kleinsasser, the intended receiver, 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, I think we can pretty much end any quarterback controversy there was in St. Louis, though.
For another week.
Yeah, for another week.
Well, what about, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
But as an outsider looking at this situation, Troy, are you as surprised as I am that there's even as much talk about it as there is?
Well, I really am, because Bulger, all he's done after this game, 15-3 as a starter in the National Football League. That is phenomenal. And how anybody with that kind of record could be in jeopardy of losing his job is absolutely mind-boggling.
But then they'll say that the interceptions and all the interceptions that he's thrown in November, 11 including today.
Penalty, 3rd down.
While they mark off the penalty, we'll hear from Kurt Warner, his take on the quarterback situation here in St. Louis.
I haven't reserved myself to the backup quarterback role, that I feel like I can be a starter, that I can play as well as I've ever played, that I can help somebody win. And until I reserve myself as saying, okay, all I am now is just a backup, I'll never want to be in a situation where, you know, I just say, okay, let somebody else start and I'll just sit back and receive a paycheck.
3rd down and 12 for Minnesota. Culpepper fires, and the pass is caught by Moss. Butler was trying to time his leap. It was right in the hands of Randy Moss for a 1st down.
And that's why Dante Culpepper is a starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he threw an absolute perfect pass right there. And to go back to what we were talking about, as we see here right over the outstretched hands of Jeremetrius Butler into Randy Moss. But I think a better question is why did the Rams give Kurt Warner such a huge signing bonus in the offseason and proclaim that he was your starter, and then after 1 game put him on the bench? I think that's the bigger question as to what that was all about going into this year.
You know, I think it had to do with this football team. I think this football team, the individual players wanted Mark Bulger to be the guy. And, you know, if you're the head coach, as much as you want to say, all right, this is the right thing, and Kurt Warner led us to the Super Bowl twice and all those sorts of things, when your football team has a gut feeling that they want the other guy, pretty hard to turn your back on that.
Well, I would agree with that. I think that's one of the things that's somewhat confusing for Kurt Warner, understanding that they did make the commitment to him this offseason with the signing bonus, and then 1 bad game in the opener against the Giants, which really wasn't even all that bad other than the fumbles. He came on strong at the end, and the next thing he knows, he's no longer the starting quarterback.
2nd down and 10. Culpepper flips it for Mo Williams. And Williams is brought down about 4 yards shy of a 1st down. Well, the fumbles are part of it, though. I mean,
I understand.
You know, and when you look at the numbers for Warner, 0-7 his last 7 starts.
And that's the biggest part of it.
In the game at the Giants, 6 fumbles, an interception. 14 fumbles his last 4 full games, and he's a guy that's been at the top of the mountain but has had those nasty hand injuries that he's trying to come back from.
Right, and let's be honest, if the Rams had lost 7 games up to this point this season, Mark Bulger, by his performance, would not be the starting quarterback right now either.
Kleinsasser makes the catch and is wrestled out of bounds by Archuleta with a 1st down.
You know, the most interesting story, though, was Bulger telling us that with all the controversy and everything goes on, he said last week somebody took a shot, I guess, of Kurt Warner warming up on the sideline, and everybody goes crazy, and oh my God, they're going to put him in and all this kind of stuff. Said he was warming up with me. You know, everybody's out there trying to make such a big deal of it. I asked him to come get me loose because I'd gotten tight between series.
He said, I'll never ask Warner to warm up with me again. I'm looking right for Torrey Holt.
Bypassing Scott Covington.
Yeah. On 1st down, the pass is well over the head of Burleson.
But I will say this. I mean, it's a very tenuous situation for Kurt Warner and for Mark Bulger, but You know, I got to tell you, my hat's off to Kurt Warner and the way that he has handled this situation.
No doubt.
Unless you've been a quarterback in this league and you've had to watch from the sidelines as someone else has gone out and had success. Now, Kurt Warner was the recipient of having enjoyed that success while Trent Green was over on the sidelines after he got hurt. But Kurt Warner has handled this thing absolutely beautifully, and I applaud him for that.
They're working on Pisa Tino Isamoa on the sideline. It's 2nd down and 10. Pass is gone to Randy Moss. He's had a huge afternoon. And Moss will step out of bounds with another 1st down.
You know, it does bring up an interesting point, though, and that being with Kurt Warner. What do you do with him at the end of the season? Because of that signing bonus, and if you try to trade him, it would all end up on the Rams' salary cap side. So now you either have to rework the contract or have somebody willing to pick up that sort of a deal. But if they're willing to pick up that sort of a deal, they're not going to want to give up a lot for him. So it's really a tough spot right now for the Rams to try to figure out.
Timeout called for by St. Louis. We'll take a quick break. It's a 1st down for the Vikings just inside the 20 when we come back. Guest starring. Troy will be planted in front of his TV to see Liza. It all starts with an hour of King of the Hill, 7 Eastern, 6 Central here on Fox. Culpepper just got rid of it as he was about to get popped.
You know, to go back to your point, Chris, I was talking with Jay Zygmunt, the president of football operations for the Rams, and asked him that very question. What happens with Kurt Warner as you move into next year? And because Mark Bulger is a restricted free agent, they can tender him an offer of $1.9 million, which means any team that matches that would owe the Rams a 1st and a 3rd round pick. So financially, even though they're paying Kurt Warner as though he's the starter, they could in essence sign Bulger to a deal that would make him like backup pay. So financially, they don't have to make a move with these guys, and he believes that going into next season right now, it looks like they'll have both players.
Whistles before the snap.
Somehow I just don't see that happening. I don't know
Prior to the snap,
how it's going to happen.
Offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And I think it's a little bit like the situation that happened in New England there with Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. And, you know, at some point, a guy has done so much for your franchise, you want to accommodate him. You want to make him happy. He deserves that for the way that he's reacted this season. I think he deserves the right to go and have another opportunity.
I believe that he does, too, but I also know that they're not ready for Scott Covington to be the backup quarterback. They'd have to go out and get somebody.
Culpepper goes to the end zone, and it is Sehorn on the incomplete pass. The officials get together and say that Sehorn did not control it as he hit that back line.
And one of the things with this football team that I've seen out here today is with Jason Sehorn now becoming healthy, he gives you a real man-to-man option back in the secondary, and the ball never hit the ground. Sort of between the legs catch there.
But I don't know that he had it under control as he hit that back line.
He's laying an egg. but when you have two guys playing safety like Aeneas Williams and Jason Sehorn, both guys former top-notch corners in this league, it really creates some possibilities for blitzing because you can play that man coverage in that floor approach.
And we saw some of that today.
Culpepper's going to sling it to Mo Williams on 3rd down and long. He is wrestled down at the 21 by Polley. Just one more point from my perspective on Kurt Warner. The kind of professional athlete that he has been consistently since the second he took over as the #1 guy and is a 2-time MVP in this league. It tells you all you need to know about Kurt Warner, the way he reacted that day in Chicago. And I'm willing to accept that he was asked if he wanted to go in, and he said, Coach, stick with Bulger and let him get through this at face value, as opposed to some sort of a cover-up or some sort of roundabout conspiracy.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, there's still a lot of football left to be played this season. I mean, he could very well be depended on before this year's over and play a big part in this team's success as they move forward.
Player is down and getting looked at by the training staff. Who is it? Travis Fisher. They'll pop him up. We'll see what happened when we come back. It has been 3 3 consecutive ugly trips into St. Louis for the Vikings as Minnesota's forced to go for it on 4th and 12. Culpepper never saw Little coming. This ball is out of bounds, and the Rams will take over. What are we up to, Troy? 5?
That's 5.
Leonard Little is amazing, missing 4 games, coming back, a tear in a pectoral muscle, wearing a harness on that right chest and shoulder area, and he has been phenomenal here today.
And Mike Rosenthal hopes he never sees this guy again. He's been going around. He can't even get out of his stance quick enough to even take a shot at him.
Lovie Smith told us the other day he's our best defensive player, and
actually he said our best player, and you made him back off of and say defensive. I think he was really believing, though, it was best player, period.
I tell you, he has played like the best player today.
How about Lovie Smith doing a job here in this second half as well as with his plan? I don't think Lovie Smith is too far away from being a head coach in this league either.
Gordon carries it for 3. The last 3 times in here, the Vikings have allowed to the Rams 137 points, 1,376 yards in the last 11+ quarters.
You know, the other story that we really haven't hit on is the Minnesota Vikings. Here's a team now that's lost 4 out of 5 after starting the season undefeated with 6 straight. And they are really reeling right now. And they have a pretty tough road the rest of the way out and have to get this thing back on the right track, or it's going to be one embarrassing season.
Yeah, 5 out of 6 counting this game here. So they are definitely struggling.
The one win they had to fight to get a victory over the Detroit Lions. There is Angie Harmon. And only in a football stadium would she be identified as Jason Sehorn's wife. Everywhere else, Jason is referred to as Angie Harmon's husband. Is that fair, Chris?
I would say that's true. And in defense of Angie Harmon, she was pointing at the screen, but she was not pointing at herself. There was a baby on the screen, so I don't want people to think that she's going, oh, look, there's me. I think she's seen herself enough on television.
She'll appreciate you pointing that out.
Good.
2 minutes, 16 seconds remaining, and the Vikings have to spend a timeout.
You know, I had a chance to visit with Jason Sehorn yesterday, and of course he missed the early part of the season because of an injured foot, and he's going to have off-season surgery on that once the season ends. And so when he's out there playing, we talked about his contributions and how much he helps in allowing them to do different looks, but he's out there still playing hurt.
The questions about Sehorn as a safety, I would imagine, have to do with his tackling abilities.
Correct.
As opposed to covering somebody as a corner. If you're going to be a safety, you've got to come up, make big hits, and bring guys down, and that's something that Sehorn has not always been known to do.
Yeah, and it's one of the hardest things when you're a guy who's considered a cover corner, which is what Jason Sehorn was when he was with the Giants. To make the change then to safety and then be asked to tackle is very difficult. Now, Aeneas Williams, he made that transition very well.
2-minute warning in St. Louis. To the Vikings, 48-17 is the score, and I know the 3 of us up here in the booth and Pam down on the field want to thank our tremendous crew for the work that they've done all week. Last Sunday we were in Dallas, then in Detroit for Thanksgiving, and here in St. Louis. A lot of set it up, tear it down, set it up again. Big rush put on, and Landeta gets it away quickly and gets away a good one. Howry with a fair catch inside the 20.
You know, speaking of Thanksgiving, the Green Bay Packers have to be a little ill right now after getting beat in that one. With the Vikings getting knocked off here, they would have been in a tie for first place.
But I mean, they also have to be.
They got to be thrilled also. I mean, they let a golden opportunity slip them, but at the same time, watching this game today, knowing that after all that they've been through, now they're still just 1 game back. That division is still clearly up for grabs.
We've given the loss to Minnesota today, so that's how the standings look for the top 2. Minnesota will have Seattle at home next, then at Chicago, then at home against Kansas City, and at Arizona. The schedule definitely favors the Packers down the stretch.
You know, at Chicago and at Arizona is no cakewalk anymore either. The Bears starting to play well, and Arizona, as St. Louis will tell you, is pretty tough out there too.
Let me ask you this. Mike Martineau was tempted the past couple of weeks to go to Kurt Warner in the relief role, but he stayed with Mark Bulger. Isn't he reaping the benefits of staying with Bulger with the kind of day Bulger had today as opposed to pulling him out, then maybe starting him again and making a young quarterback wonder, I would imagine, every time he lets a ball go, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that as a quarterback, you want to know that your head coach and the guy calling plays believes in you. And I think Mark Bulger now knows that Mike Martz does believe in him, that he is going to be the guy. I would also say that Mark Bulger is reaping the benefits of having a guy like Mike Martz calling plays for him.
And they're also reaping the benefit of having Marshall Faulk back. I mean, this is the third straight game now. That and the fact that this offensive line, you know, they never played together until during the preseason very much. And you can see them getting better and better and better, both pass protection and with the running game.
Timeout called for by the Vikings.
Big guys up there, Kyle Turley and company, and Turley had a little bit of a transition coming in here. They did a lot of things differently up front than what they did in New Orleans, some double reads and different things, and then Andy McCullum having to move from center over to the guard position, and Dave Wohlabaugh taking over in there. It's been a transition for this offensive line.
I think the biggest thing for Turley, he's had a hard time finding a tattoo parlor here in St. Louis.
I mean, there's somewhere left to tattoo?
I don't know, is there?
Not on that arm there is.
The left arm's got some space. But there's stuff on the back of the left arm as well. How long can that take for those arms to get filled with tattoos? I mean, that's a commitment, Troy.
That's an all-day event.
I'd have to take that one over onto my chest to get all that on there.
43 seconds left, and Tyoka Jackson came across early. We'll see if he was drawn offside.
He was thinking this
Offside.
is easy out here.
Defense, number 97, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And I got to tell you, I'm not real crazy about when you get in these kind of games, these situations like the Vikings throwing the football, going into a no huddle offense. I mean, they have no chance of winning this game, and you just hate to see somebody go down. You still got Randy Moss in the game, Dante Culpepper. You just hate to see a careless injury because of trying to get the ball down the field.
Video proof that that person is here in St. Louis as Kleinsasser makes the catch. He's brought down at the 41. And the Vikings are going to spend a timeout. Down 48-17, and with 32 seconds left, they are going to use their final timeout, which gives us a chance to tell you that today's game is being produced by Richie Zients, directed by Artie Kempner. Technical producers Matt Benedict. Our thanks to Steve Horn here in the booth. And Dave Schwabe, our spotter, who does such a great job week after week. And Ed Spida, our statistician. Technical director is Rich Basili. The audio mixer is Fred Aldis. Ben Altop, who continually sets us up here in the booth. The associate directors are Greg Scopatoni and Derek Manning. Broadcast associates Judy Huang and Jeremy Green. The senior producer, Fox Sports' Bill Brown. The executive producers, Ed Gorn and David Hill.
Yeah, we take a look here at Mike Martz, and we talked about Bulger and Kurt Warner and everybody else, Marshall Faulk, but I don't know that we've given Mike Martz his due and the job that he's done, not just this season, but the job that he's done ever since being named the head coach in 2000.
Winningest active coach out there right now.
42 and 22 after today, and all the timeouts have done is allow the Rams to pad their defensive statistics. That's Tyoka Jackson. And the Vikings are still acting as if they're down by 6 points.
I think Mike Tice is just mad.
Well, Randy Moss didn't come back down the field.
I think he's mad too.
I don't understand this.
You know, and it doesn't do any. It doesn't help your team. I mean, they could throw it in the end zone right now and score a touchdown. All it does is just, you know, it slows down the inevitable, and at the same time, look at these offensive linemen and these offensive players. They're walking around wondering what they're doing themselves. You know, I mean, it's not building any confidence. I can guarantee you that much.
Well, plus it just prolongs your embarrassment. I mean, you hate to be out there almost when you've been whipped like this.
4 seconds remaining. So one play left, barring a defensive foul. And Culpepper will complete it. Fake reverse, and Randy Moss fumbles as he is pasted. Downfield, it was Damian Lewis to make the hit. So Randy Moss, after all that, finally getting back down the field after has to suffer one more big hit, this time by Damian Lewis. So for Troy Aikman, Chris Collinsworth, Pam Oliver, I'm Joe Buck. So long from St. Louis. Right now, we're going to take you to bonus coverage of the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans. Let's join Ron Pitts and Tim Ryan for the conclusion of that game. From all of us in St. Louis, thanks for watching. So long.
I'd like to welcome those of you watching the Rams game. We're at Reliance Stadium here in Houston, Texas. Ron Pitts, Tim Ryan. 50 seconds left and counting, as the Houston Texans started off a little sluggish, as did the Atlanta Falcons. But both quarterbacks who started off as number 2 came in the game, became number 1, and it led to scores for their respective teams.
And both teams got a boost from their quarterbacks. Of course, Banks out with a broken hand. David Carr in. Clear that he's playing with a bad shoulder, but he's able to go out there and make plays. And I think give a lot of credit to that offensive line up front for doing the job here in the second half and giving more protection to their quarterback, because in the first half it was terrible. And then Michael Vick on the other side finally got some game. It's been a long time, Ron, since second, third week in August since he's been out on the field, and you could see the difference in this football team when he was out there.
.28 seconds left, a third down and 20. Atlanta cannot stop the clock, and that should be it. And it's been a long trip to this point. A lot of stuff happened. Duckett.
Well, Atlanta up again early in this game, Ron. They couldn't hold the lead.
The broken hand.
That was the broken hand on Banks. This is where Carr re-aggravates the shoulder, but stays in the game, handing it off to Dominic Davis.
And then the big interception. That was huge. Doug Johnson kind of wavered all game long, but that one really sealed the fate. And in came Michael Vick. Started out 8 for 10, went right down the field, led to a field goal, and he did some of the old stuff.
Yeah, he's not back to where he was last year, but I think it's clear that he gives this team a boost, and they're pumped to have him back in uniform.
And that's the final. Houston 17, Atlanta 13. We'll be back to wrap things up here right after these messages.